which shapes a character's misbeliefs and values. In a good story, backstory will dictate what your inciting incident is. It serves as the source of their core need and wants. Backstory shapes the motivation of your character and reveals their pain points. There is no doubt that backstory is very important to creating a 3D character. Oftentimes, we resort to exposition info dump when we are writing backstory, and that is just not going to.
Backstory, I think, sometimes gets kind of a bum rap. It's depicted as exposition, better left as a show not tell, and better known by the author and not necessarily by the audience. But I don't think this is always the case. Recently, in trying to understand one of my secondary characters, the love interest in my Cinderella story I was writing in Nano, I wrote a short story about him when he was a child. It will never show up in my story. It's not going to come in Flashback, but it helped me understand him and why he does what he does, and his motivations and what shaped him as a young person. And it was really fun to write. So I recommend that activity, especially if you've got a writing contest and you need to write a short story and you don't want to lead your novel just yet, but you don't want to spoil your novel. Or if you are going to self-publish and you want to give away some freebies to add lead magnets or something like that, writing a backstory or something like that as a short story can be a really great tool in that way. Let me know in the comments what your favorite way of writing backstory is, and if you have any that I haven't listed in this video. Backstory is just our history. We are nothing if not a collection of our experiences, our unique experiences, and as we grow and mature, everything that has happened to us has shaped who we are today. Backstory is simply the history that has led us to the story we're about to tell. It's all a secret history of your characters. It can be a powerful tool for creating depth and complexity in your writing. Neil Gaiman, fantasy and science fiction author. I love Neil Gaiman, and he is very good at storytelling, especially in a short story. You can get a lot, and he is the king, I think, of subtext and not telling. A lot of times, you're left wondering exactly what caused the characters to be the way they are. Another queen of subtext is Margaret Atwood. She said, backstory is the history of a character that shaped the present. It's the foundation for their motivations, their desires, and their flaws. A character's backstory can be the key to unlocking their actions and understanding their behaviors. Margaret Atwood, dystopian and speculative fiction author. She also writes historical and contemporary fiction, essays, poetry, you name it, she writes it. She is my hero. I talk about her a lot. If you like Margaret Atwood, let me know by hitting the subscribe button. Nah, I'm just kidding. She's not gonna. But it would help me. I'd appreciate it if you smash that like button and hit subscribe. Backstory is like the foundation of a house. You don't see it, but it's there, and if it's not there, the house falls down. Orson Scott Card, science fiction and fantasy, is show not tell. It's very important in your non-main characters. In main characters, revealing through the other 2 points I'm going to give to you are maybe useful. But in a secondary or further away, the further away you get centered, the less you want to stop the narrative to do any extra explaining about why characters are doing what they're doing, with the exception of your antagonist. That's the wrong letter. In Australia, there's a U. So what do you do then? You have to reveal a character that isn't your main character, and you have to do it on the go without stopping the story. Well, you do it through action. This is where the term show don't tell came from. The term that I hate, but in this case, it's valid. When you're showing and not telling, you want something that the audience can understand and relate to. And ideally through actions, through how the character is spending their time and their resources. Amelie is a great example. Now, there is a lot of exposition on the main character. There's a lot, but there's none. There is no exposition on her love interest, who really doesn't show up until the end. But we find out a lot about him by the way he behaves. So what if that's just not going to cut it? What if the idea isn't coming across? Maybe your beta reads to Zoom, get it? Why didn't they do that? Maybe you feel like you need to say a little bit. This is often really hard when you've got a resistant character, a character that doesn't want to do something.
There are lots of ways to reveal backstory. The first, I hopefully have successfully done with my own backstory in showing you through action what I think of as important and what my pain points are. But in case I haven't, let's try it in Flashback. So check out these cute videos. Aren't they adorable? This is me as a younger me in my bedroom, despite any bedrooms. And you can see that I spent all my time in my room. I love my room. I have worlds, I Barbies. I occasionally invite friends in, but mostly it's just me inside my four walls, give me like play space. Why? Because with staying there. Because somewhere along the way, I felt I needed to apologize for grieving, for being outside. For example, let's take the elderly example. I'm Lee's father. Why doesn't he go anywhere? Why doesn't he do anything? Why doesn't he make any moves? So we have to have the backstory. We have to have the what happened in the past that has made him a recluse, that has made him not leave the house. If it weren't for that flashback, we didn't know what was going on with her father, then the entire journey of the gnome would be irrelevant. And that's my favorite part of the story. And you wouldn't understand how important it is when he finally walks out the door. I'm sorry, spoilers, I should say spoilers. Massive spoilers. We haven't seen all the lead. If you haven't, go watch it. Finish this video. Go watch it. Like White House story. So then we resort to exposition. Then two ways to do exposition that are not going to feel like an info dump. The first is through dialogue, and let me give you an example of it. So I really just wanted to thank you for helping me move my rooms and everything. That was just so great. And it greatly suggested it. Like, why did you think that was so important? For a number of reasons. One was you had been talking for quite some time around the fact that smaller office room had these two windows and you couldn't have them both open at the same time. In particular, the east-facing window, I believe it is, just had this sunken glass. And I think sat at my kitchen table once, drew a little sketch, and they were like, where could you put a desk if not have this sunlight smack in the face and just can't cover the monitor or whatever? And the reality just was there was no square inch of that roof. No, there was. However, the other room had that. Yeah. The other thing I think going on there is that for me, in terms of principles around space, I'm like, I've been to the world. Yeah, like, there is zero value in the space where I sleep being actually grand and amazing. Yeah. But when I'm working, I actually work better when I'm working in a nice environment. And so to be sitting there able to look out and having a really good environment to work in where all my stuff is readily available, and where the inspiration is on the wall behind me or around me, like, that makes a real difference to quality. And so, yeah. In bedroom, I went, yep. Well, it is better. Another good instincts. Go deeper. Maybe you really want your readers to know exactly what is motivating your characters. Now, I would recommend writing in first person for this because then you can go into the head of your characters. However, you can do this in third person. It's just a little bit harder because you're just that much further away. But in first person, you can be inside your main character's mind and can say, yes, would like some attention. Is that the subtext of that? So for me, let me show you what that's going to look like. So the thing is, I spent most of my childhood feeling like I had to apologize for breathing. I felt like there was something wrong with me. I felt like I didn't belong, and the only place I felt happy was in my room. The only place I felt safe was at home in my own space, and that space became the most important thing to me. And I valued it beyond anything else, and if anything was in there that didn't belong in there, I wanted it gone. And that doesn't mean I always kept my room clean, but I made my bed every day, and I did that because I didn't like getting in a bed that wasn't made. And I spent the majority of my time in those four walls, playing, writing, drawing, making up stories, listening to music. Occasionally I had friends over, but for the most part, that's Now, like I said, Amelie's big on the dropping exposition, and the narration is part of the fun of the film. But you can also reveal exposition through dialogue. It doesn't have to be an info dump by a narrator. And we get this with Visit. It has glass bones and can't leave his house. We experience his story and the story of other characters in the movie through his dialogue with Emily. Now, whether you are using dialogue or internal monologue, you never want to come right out and say it. Subtext is going to be here. And the best video I have ever seen is one of my favorite YouTubers on story. So check out this video here to find out all of my favorite YouTubers. Hold out, because in this video, there is some really great information about subtext. If you want to know more about me and my backstory and want to know why I just put Color of Boom on my wall, check out this video here where I break down all of my goals for 2023. See you there.